Well, let's go there next, because that's kind of breaking as of this morning. Prosecutors ask a court to delay the Derek Chauvin jury selection. So the court is recessed until the afternoon. So the prosecution argued that jury selection should halt, while the defense asked the state Supreme Court to review a ruling regarding the third-degree murder charge. So they want to review the issue of adding the third-degree murder charge. I mean, I think what's going on here is that a lot of times what they do systemically is that they try to delay the actual trial long enough so that it's completely out of the public spotlight. Yes. They drag it and they make it out like it's a procedural thing, but it's a systemic thing for them to drag it out long enough so that these police officers can get at best slap on the wrist, if they even get that. Usually it's not even that. That's
that
the
was
system.
Actually what I was going to say. They drag it out so long, you know, people, it's not that they don't care anymore, it's that it's so much stuff happening during 2020 and right now, you know, and just this year, so much stuff has been happening, you know, so to keep up with all the deaths and all the trials, and now that Trump is out of office, you know, Black Lives Matter isn't getting the media attention that it was getting. It's going to be hard for people to keep up with that. Well, it's not going to be hard. They just don't, you know, because they are a lot of people aren't into, you know, people like you or me who's just going to just blurt out, you know, random stuff. We're not given a script, or we're not, you know, held by corporate donors to, you know, prostitute for them and whatnot. But yeah, that's exactly what they do. And like I had said this before, like if any union needs to be broken up, it is the police union. You know, this is one of the most, you know, that union is straight, how can I say it? Slave catcher mentality, you know. And for them to even have a union, that's fucking crazy. Like,
yeah, well,
protection when we are the ones that pay them.
Well, I always say I'm very pro-union, but every rule has its exceptions. And big exception, police union. There we go. Big exception to that rule where I'm usually pro-union. But I want to take a look at this right here. So technically third-degree murder, this is getting back to this Fox 61 article. Technically third-degree murder is a lesser charge, although the penalties would likely be the same as the second-degree murder charge. So third-degree murder is when there was no premeditation. I'm pretty certain, like, there was no premeditation, and it was basically like it'd be like the equivalent of you're driving along a sidewalk, firing a gun in the air,
I don't
and someone.
Know who are these lawyers, because I can find, you know, things that can be premeditation. These guys work together. They work together. They have been in fights with one another. You know, we have reports that he didn't like George, and you know, George was a porn star, so he was getting females, and yeah, he didn't like that. They were both bouncers. If like this, if that's not premeditated, I don't know what the fuck. Excuse me if I can't curse in your station.
Oh yeah, you can curse. You can curse. I mean, I can't speak to all that, but he kneeled on the guy for 9 minutes.
Yes,
he kneeled on the guy for 9 minutes.
Hate. You gotta have.
You can't
hate for someone to, like, not even just being on some racist shit. You know, like, even a fucking racist probably just shoot you and get it over with. You know, but for you to man, just murder a man,
right,
knowingly, like kneeling on his throat, like, I just don't understand. Just these courts, these police unions, all this shit. And I always tell people, we are protesting and striking in the wrong areas. You want to strike in your neighborhood, yeah, that's fine. Bring some attention, get some people outside, but take that shit to the police officer houses. Take that shit to the police union, you know, to the head of the police union. Take that shit to his house and her house, whoever the fuck it is. I don't even know who the fuck it is, but take it to their houses, you know? And that's where that power is. That's where you put that pressure. Go to these judges' houses. Find out who who are going to be the motherfucking, I'm sorry, the jury on this trial. Go to their houses. Even though it's illegal to try to convince the jury, you better let them know you ain't going to be able to live in this town if that cop walk.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, I think that, first of all, it's going to be a heck of a jury selection process, because how are you going to, it's not going to be easy to find people that aren't at least vaguely familiar with this thing.
Right.
That's not going to be easy. But also, and I'm not a lawyer. I don't think you're a lawyer either. Neither one of us are lawyers. No. But it seems pretty apparent, anyone that just kind of looks at this, that they're setting it up in a way where the defense is going to have an easy time knocking it down because of the way the charges are set up. And come on, we know this. We know this.
It went from first to second to third, I believe. Not yet. Yeah.
It's like they're in a bowling challenge, and for the prosecution, they put a big boulder in the middle of the lane. It's like, all right, good luck bowling. And then for the defense, they put up the bumpers on either side, yep. and the bowling ball is as wide as the lane itself. And they're like, you just got to get one pin. Good luck. Yep. And yeah, I mean, it's because, well, their plan A is a little bit hindered right now. Plan A is always, well, let's just make sure that it's completely out of this public spotlight before we go about this kangaroo court process. Well, they didn't accomplish that this time around because people are still have an eye on this thing. So, well, let's just make sure the charges are such that they should be able to knock this down. And this is the systemic disease that is law enforcement in this country. What do you think we need to do about the police? Like, what do you think? Are you an abolish guy? Are you a defund guy? Are you a both?
I'm more of a police your own neighborhood type guy. We don't need a badge. You know, like I tell my boys all the time, you know, when I talk to my people in my community, like, we know the criminals. Sometimes we are the criminals. You know, we can control. There is no getting rid of crime, but there is, you know, you can slow crime down rapidly if you hit poverty where it needs to be hit. So in order for us to, slow this crime rate down here, we got to work with each other. You know, we got to be able to share with each other money, food, whatever, you know, because we got, you know.
Well, preventative services. Prison. I mean, and that's what defunding the police is all about. It's all about, like, look, half of your city's budget. I mean, here in LA, that's definitely the case. Over half the city budget just goes to police. Yeah. And who gets next to nothing? Well, services that would prevent crime. Services that would help out poor people, that would help out, that would provide educational opportunities, services for parks, services for, community food and services. Let's put more money into that.
My city actually went bankrupt trying to build a prison. $110 million. We went bankrupt trying to build a prison. I just couldn't believe it. Out of all this stuff on the east side of Detroit, no less, that needs to be fixed, we could have just built some, gave people loans with that $100 million. And we could have built small mom and pop shops. That would have stimulated our economy. But they don't want that. I tell, especially young Black people, do not leave Detroit. Don't go across 8 Mile, because as soon as you go across 8 Mile, people across 8 Mile are going to come over here. They're going to buy our land for cheap, for nothing. Even if it isn't, even if it is a lot of money, they can afford it. They're going to come down here. Our water is better. We have great land. We can grow in it. We can do whatever the fuck we want. This is a great place to be. But they trying to make it so shitty. They trying to starve us out to where we like, there's nothing here. We should leave. But no, there's a lot here. And land itself is more than enough.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news through it together and make it our own. Get your news